Welcome back to my video, and today we are talking about the Jets, the current state of the Jets, but also the potential to really rebuild this team in the future. The Jets have made a lot of moves over the past basically 2 weeks, especially right before the trade deadline. I'm sure you guys know what they are. We're going to get into it though and kind of talk about what that can mean for the future of this team. And just starting with this season, it's a wash. I mean, the season is over, unfortunately. Fields just not the guy that they were hoping. I mean, 1,100 passing yards, some of the lowest ever through this amount of games. Um, and it's sad because I've always felt like Fields has a lot of potential. And I think coaches have seen him the same way. I mean, he's very athletic. Every once in a while, he'll make one of those throws that's just like, wow, you know what I mean? He can extend plays, he's a great athlete, but he just can't consistently read defenses, and he can't consistently make the right read. It's always been his issue in the NFL, and it seems like it's one of those things that's just going to really hold him back from ever being a successful player in the NFL, unfortunately. I love Fields, but I think it's time to just accept that. At least for the Jets, they have to accept that. They have to try and move forward. And I feel bad for the Jets because they have given up on players, especially now Sam Darnold. It's not looking great knowing what he is now and what he could have been for you if you would have continued to build around him. But you also can't just look in the rearview mirror and say, well, they messed up. Because going back at that point in time, it did look like Sam Darnold was a huge issue, and he was a problem. But he obviously wasn't the main issue. And it wasn't time to give up on him. But again, hindsight's 2020. Looking at the future of this team, there's a lot of things to be excited about, but I understand also being very cautious. And when you really look at this team, I mean, Garrett Wilson stands out, obviously. Brees Hall stands out, but offensively, there's just not a lot to really be excited about. I mean, so many of these guys are replaceable. The defense is really no different, especially now that you trade away Quinnen Williams and you trade away Sauce Gardner. I mean, this is now a team that lacks an identity. Like, they're really, there's just nothing, there is no Jets culture right now. And that's what it's supposed to be at the moment. That's why they said, okay, we lack an identity. We have nothing. It's time to get rid of everything we have of value, restart, build this from the ground up. It is how you do it. I mean, that is the approach you're supposed to do when you're faced with the issue that Jets are faced with. The issue that I have, though, is the consistent pattern of the Jets' failure to turn around anything. This team has been rebuilding for 20 years, it feels like. So that's why you can sit here and you can look at all their picks over the next 2 years and you still almost don't even get excited because you're like, does it matter? Like, is it really going to matter? And it's understandable to feel that way, in my opinion, because look at the history of this team for the past 10 or 15 years. They really haven't drafted that well. A lot of their seasons that looked like they could be pretty good ultimately amounted to nothing. It's a very sad spot for the Jets to be in, especially as a fan, because you technically have hope, but I feel like you've been let down so much, you just can't let yourself get that excited about all the picks you have. And it's really disappointing because usually, if you had all these picks, you would feel great about the future of this team. But based off of what history tells us, it's very iffy for the Jets. Couldn't get that ad to close on the side. We're just gonna switch over so it's not in the way at all. But shout out to Jets Press, whatever this site is. I'm not familiar with it, but it is very helpful for what I'm doing right now. Looking at the Jets' upcoming draft picks. So in 2026, they have two first-round picks, one of which is thanks to the Colts in the Sauce Gardner trade, and they have two second-round picks. One of those second-round picks thanks to the Cowboys in the Quinnen Williams trade. So in 2026, the Jets have a 1, a 1, a 2, a 2, a 4, a 6, 7, and a 7. So they don't have a 5 and they don't have a 3, but you would think this is the ideal amount of ammo to make either a huge move, whether it's a trade or whether it's a draft. And there's a lot you can do here, and I like the way the Jets set themselves up for this because if all of a sudden this huge player comes available, you absolutely have the resources to go after that player. Now, the issue that I have though with that mindset is that if you're really looking to build this team up from the ground up, you have to draft essentially with all these picks. You really can't afford to trade one away for a player unless it's one that is just truly team altering that no one ever thought could become available, kind of like a Luka Doncic in the NBA. All right, if that kind of trade were to appear in the NFL, where you just have to go for it because you never thought this franchise player would become available, then yeah, go for it. But unless that kind of thing happens, you need to use every single one of these picks. You really do, because the Jets have so many things they need. They need defensive line, they need secondary, they need linebackers, they need offensive line, they need wide receivers even at this point, apart from Garrett Wilson. I wouldn't be surprised if they went running back, because I would imagine Breece Hall is probably gone after this year. So there's a lot of things they need, especially quarterback. And 2026 is not the year to go quarterback, in my opinion. I'm still very early in my kind of like draft board myself, looking at these upcoming prospects. But I'm really not blown away by any of the quarterbacks in there, and I would really not use a top pick on any of them. Which, again, puts the Jets in some pretty uncomfortable spots. What are you going to do at quarterback for the next year? Because 2027, in my opinion, is where you should really go and swing at a quarterback with a top pick. But again, you have to be patient here. You cannot afford to get too greedy, too aggressive, make a top pick. Doesn't pan out. I mean, at a certain point, when you have been rebuilding, I mean, the Jets have essentially been in this cycle where they're decent, ultimately accomplish nothing, then they are really bad, and they kind of sell a little bit, get some picks in, do nothing. I mean, it's a cycle of having hope, having resources to improve the team, improving it slightly, and then it falling apart, and then you just redo the cycle. And it's unfortunate. It really is. There's no better word to describe it. It sucks. It sucks to be a part of that as a player, as an owner, as a fan. And I'm hoping the Jets can turn around, and I'm excited for what they have in 2026. And again, I'll make probably another one of these videos whenever I know more about these prospects, when the draft's a bit closer, because again, there is still another half of the season left. But at the end of the day, these picks have to be used, I would say, defensively. I would say offensively, let the head coach get their guy at quarterback, whether it's in 2027 or even just a veteran. Just let them get someone else in there, get a bridge quarterback in there, continue building up the rest of this roster. Because the truth is, even if the Jets do hit on a lot of their picks in 2026, they're really not going to make a lot of noise in 2027. They're just too far away. They need way too much. Their division is pretty damn competitive at this point. The AFC as a whole, way too competitive. I don't see the Jets really doing anything in 2027, even if 2026 draft class is awesome. If it is awesome, it sets you up for success in 2027 to continue building, and then 2028 is when you can really make that big move. And it sounds, I know, maybe disheartening being a fan and hearing that of, oh, we're, 2 years away, 3 years away from being good, but that's really what a rebuild is. And at least at this time, the Jets have fully committed to it. You get rid of Sauce, you get rid of Quinnen Williams. I would imagine Breece Hall leaves in the offseason. I would be surprised if Garrett Wilson does. He seems to want to stay there. He has said himself he believes in the organization, he believes in his coaches, and props to him, because it cannot be an easy thing to sit through right now, knowing how much better this team could be. But at a certain point, though, you have to just commit to fully rebuilding. And I think the Jets are doing that. It's just a matter of using these picks well. So for me, again, I'm going bridge quarterback on the Jets. I'm getting a veteran with maybe a little bit of upside, and just continuing to add to the rest of this roster, because you're still so far away from competing. 2027 is where things get a little interesting. They have 3 first-round picks, their own, the Colts, and the Cowboys, thanks to the Quinnen Williams trade. Colts is obviously from Sauce, Cowboys from Quinnen Williams. I believe the Jets wanted that pick to be in 2026, but the Cowboys said no, they wanted it in 2027, which, you know what, whatever. It's still just adding to the future. So they have 3 first-round picks, 1 second-round pick, a third-round pick, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, and a sixth. Again, you could not be in a better spot to help build up a roster than from 2026 to 2027. And I'm not going to lie, the pressure is on for the Jets, because they have been a losing team for so long. They have now got rid of 2 of their best players, 2 all-pro level players, 2 fan-favorite players. You're shipping off because you're that committed to the rebuild. The pressure is honestly on the Jets to make something of these picks, because if they're not, I mean, what was it for? You got rid of Sauce Gardner, you got rid of Quinnen Williams, and you're going to amount to nothing. The Jets cannot afford that to be the case. So the pressure is going to be on for the ownership, for the GM, for the coach, if it is still Aaron Glenn, whoever it is. the Jets are going to be a team to watch. Not in the sense of being a contender, but everyone's going to be watching to see what these picks turn into and if the Jets can improve off of them. And it's just the way it goes. It's the way it went with Carolina and Chicago whenever Carolina gave up a whole lot to move up to 1 and select Bryce Young. It was all eyes on Bryce Young. It was all eyes on Chicago for what they did with those picks because it's a big move. People want to see what that move turns into. Who won the trade? It's just the way sports go. So for the Jets, it's like, okay, you have the balls to get rid of a fan favorite and all pro level player in Sauce Gardner. Same thing in Quinnen Williams. You get rid of both in the same day, hours apart at the trade deadline. When Sauce himself didn't know he was going to be traded. I doubt Quinnen really did either. So it's one of those moves where it shocks everybody. You're going full rebuild mode. And when you tool up like this, the pressure is really on you. It's not on anybody else because they got the player. The Colts got Sauce Gardner. Yeah, the Colts are going to be anticipated to go win games now because they gave up 2 first-round picks. And it was a great trade on the Jets' part because that's a trade you really just can't pass up. 2 first-round picks for a star corner. You have to give Sauce Gardner up for that. But that's the Colts' problem. That's not the Jets' problem. Colts are now looking to win. Jets are looking to rebuild, and these picks matter a whole lot. 2027, in my opinion, is the biggest year for the Jets in terms of this rebuild because I believe that draft class is going to be better than 2026. I believe the quarterback class is going to be better than 2026. And if the Jets play their cards right, they can really help build up the rest of this roster before selecting a franchise quarterback potentially in 2027. And they have 3 first-round picks to potentially do so. So when you really look at the Jets right now, they're a terrible team. They don't have much going for them. They don't have a great owner. They have a very unproven head coach. They don't have a franchise quarterback. There's pretty much nothing going for this roster. And the only silver lining to that is when you look at the draft picks and know it can literally only go up from here. Like, you can't be any worse than this. You have no identity as a football team. You have nothing. If I'm the Jets, and I'm looking at this kind of like almost a roadmap for the next few years. After this season ends, you have to be active in free agency. You don't have much of a choice because really you have nothing to lose. I mean, you're not going to be a huge landing spot for a lot of guys, but if you can get even any veteran presence there at these positions they have no depth at, it's going to be a huge help because otherwise, with the way these draft classes are looking, they're going to have a lot of rookies starting over the next couple years. So you have to be active in free agency. You have to be willing to at least be open-minded at who's willing to come play for you. But in my opinion, this season ends, free agency, whatever, look for a bridge quarterback. I don't know who that's going to be. Maybe go get Mac Jones if he's available. He's playing pretty good football right now for San Francisco. Go see if he's available. See if Flacco is going to leave again. Bring him to the Jets. Bring him back to the Jets. I don't care who it is, but you can't go quarterback in 2026 if you aren't confident in it. You have to go with the team's pick, whether it's the GM, the owner, the coach, all of them combined. Hopefully they're all on the same page. They need to get their guy. These picks can't go to waste. So in my opinion, it's got to be free agency. Hopefully get a bridge quarterback. The draft obviously big in 2026. And then 2026 season, I think you just want to see improvement. You want to see some cornerstones of this team kind of step up and say, okay, we can build around this guy. We can build around this guy. We can build around this guy. 2027 comes around, that offseason, or the 2026 offseason, excuse me. No, never mind, 2027. I spoke correctly the first time. Again, active in free agency, whatever. But that draft class has to be getting your franchise quarterback if you haven't already. So that's probably going to be the biggest offseason, in my opinion, as far as this Jets rebuild goes. In 2027, you're probably going to be mid. And then 2028 is when you can actually be good. That's assuming this rebuild goes to plan and it's somewhat smooth, which never happens. So we'll see how it goes. But when the Jets tear apart their roster like this, the pressure's on. I mean, you can't get rid of these franchise-level players and it amount to nothing. So I truly hope the Jets can do something with this. I will really, really hate to see what the fans, the media have to say if this does amount to nothing. But, I mean, look at the first-round picks in 2027. Look at all the picks 2027. Look at all the picks in 2026. The future is now for the Jets. It really is time to find your franchise head coach, find your franchise quarterback. You're never going to be in a better spot than this for the next however many years. And you don't want to be in this spot again because you have no one on your team to count on. So I feel for Garrett Wilson. I mean, I really do. I feel for Brees Hall. But again, in Garrett Wilson's case, he says he believes in this team. I hope the fans do. Um, and they're ready to be hurt again. You know, have that delusional hope, even if you're going to be let down. I mean, it's all there for you. Just a matter of executing at this point. But I'm interested what you guys think. Comment down below what you think the best course of action is for the Jets to getting back into competitive football. Is it going franchise quarterback in 2026? Is it just trying to find a bridge quarterback? Do you hold off till 2027? Do you trade these picks for a proven player already? There's a lot of different things you can do with this, so let me know down below what you guys think is best. Like, subscribe, I would really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.